My name is Wayne Lampman. I am the producer as well as the host of my program, A Look at Life. This is an introduction to programs that I have done recently.
Saigon, to work with the Army. I was sent to the headquarters. The Americans treated the Vietnamese was appalling. After I was there for 6 months, I ran into one fellow that I had flown over with. I said to him, "What do you do for entertainment?" He goes, "Well, let me see. Sometimes we shoot up into the trees and watch the gooks fall out." It wasn't his fault. This was war. This is what war does. I ran into another fellow on my way back, and we had also gone over together. And I told him this story. "Well, if we didn't like someone, we had to get rid of them." I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, we had a sergeant that we didn't like. So one of us had to get rid of him. So we picked straws. And the one guy that got the short straw, he was supposed to kill him and make it look like the enemy did it." This is what war does.
Today I'm going to talk about abortion, the right to choose and the right to life. As we all know, this is an extremely sensitive subject. It's also an extremely complicated subject. The general thought process says that life begins at conception. Now, what kind of life is that? We have plants that are alive. We have animals that are alive. We have humans that are alive. What is life? One question, though, that does not seem to get enough attention, perhaps because no one has the answer, and that is, when does the soul join life? And it seems that without a soul, we're not alive. So that seems to be a critical question that does not get very much attention. And I would think that that's a pretty important topic, particularly with a religious context, in a religious context where abortion is concerned.
Today we're going to talk about judgments. We form judgments and opinions about what goes on around us on a regular basis. Ridiculous political situation with don't ask, don't tell. We're adults, and yet we're saying don't ask, don't tell. Come on. But that's a judgment that people make of other people. They may not know anyone that's homosexual. They may not have any contact with anyone that's a homosexual. And yet, there are value judgments made that this lifestyle is wrong, or that lifestyle is wrong, or that way of feeling is wrong. Why should anyone care? I think I was about 13 years old. And he said, "You know, this particular neighborhood is anti-Semitic." And I looked at him and I said, "What does that mean?" Another one is, women don't deserve the same pay as a man. Come on. Blacks' brains are not as big as whites. They're lazy. They smell. And all this other stuff. Thank God things have changed. Thank God I've changed. Thank God attitudes have changed. And we need to go a lot further. Because all of these attitudes that we carry about other people, these judgments that we make on other people, can be so harmful and can be so wrong. And we need to change. We all need to change. We need to stop carrying around these judgments that are without any basis. About marijuana and the legalization of marijuana. I actually am in favor of the legalization of marijuana. Most of us assumed in, let's say, 1969, 1970, and moving forward, was that by the time we reached the age that I'm at now, 64, by the time we reached that age line, marijuana would have been legalized. I mean, it was just expected. It was just a matter of time. And yet we are still battling that particular issue. And it is too bad.
This segment is on baby boomers, of which I am most definitely a part. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear when the Lone Ranger rides again. You know, that was one of my favorite shows back then. A walk down memory lane for some and a look at the past that is forever, forever gone with the wind. Do you remember back in the early 50s and television had just 1 or 2 or maybe 3 stations and you didn't have a remote? Oh my God. How did we live without a remote? I absolutely loved disco. Now, disco came in and it was fun. It was funny that after disco kind of faded out, people sort of went, oh, disco, that was kind of stupid. But you know what? A lot of people love disco. I think if we could bring disco back, we'd still have a good time. And, the baby boom generation began in 1946 and went on to 1964. The baby boomers today, the ones that are my age, that are coming into 65, that started in January, we make up 13% of the population. By the time the tail end of the baby boomers comes in within the next 20 years, our generation will have made up 18% of the population. That's huge. Today I'm going to talk about wind turbines. When I first saw wind turbines, it was when I lived in California. I still think the look of the wind turbines is beautiful. The wind turbine controversy, what's called the wind turbine syndrome. It is happening all over the world. Living near wind farms may be hazardous to your health. Wind farms go up, or wind turbines go up. Within 24 hours or close to that proximity, people are developing physical symptoms